About a year ago, hell, almost exactly a year ago, I reviewed the original Game Boy Classic, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Then, as luck would have it, about 6 months later, Nintendo announced a remake for the Nintendo Switch. I could only say, typical. I mean, my next Zelda game to do is The Wind Waker. I could just play the Wii U remaster, but I just know that as soon as I do, Nintendo's going to announce the Nintendo Switch port any day. Supposedly, rumor has it that the Switch ports of those HD games are ready to go, but Nintendo is sitting on them. But that's another story. The remake of these games was handled by Grizzo, who also did the 3DS remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Work on HD remasters of those, Nintendo. I'd love to play those on the Switch. Well, I've already reviewed the original game, so I'm not going to approach this like I did the original, since if you want to see that, well, go ahead and watch the original video right here. One of the things I complained about, and what everyone complained about, was due to the fact that this was a Game Boy game, that meant constantly pausing the game and switching your items. But now with the Switch, that's no longer an issue. Your sword, shield, Pegasus boots, and Power Glove are always equipped no matter what. That means less time is spent switching between items, and because you use the Power Glove and Pegasus boots quite frequently, this is a change I can get behind. One thing I noticed is that early on, when you only have the starting tunic, combating your enemies means making better use of the shield. Some moblins will charge you, and you need to shield their attacks to make them drop their guard. Nice touch. The opening of the game is anime style, which makes me want a Zelda anime really badly. Get on it, Nintendo. The art style for the game is very chibi, which is definitely the feel that they were going for, and considering the setting of the game's story, I think it fits very well. Anyway, I'm going to get into the spoiler warning here for the rest of the video. Not that I really feel like I should have to. This is a 26-year-old game, people. So what I find about the game's art style is that it really gives the world a charming aesthetic to it. You see, while Breath of the Wild was all about open-ended exploration, this game is a considerably more linear Zelda. I don't mind that. Linearity can often create a tighter experience. I haven't covered Breath of the Wild yet because I still got quite a number of games to go before I get to it. The world of Gohon is much more compact and is prone to secrets of its own. For starters, there's this fishing minigame that the original didn't have. Catching a fish is easy enough. Oh, there's an empty bottle. That's new. Let's see if I can catch it. A fish can do that? Ah! Okay, this time I'll just get the fish out of the way. Okay, got the fish and no! Forget this, I'll just come back later. So it's all the same getting the sword, shield, and going to the first dungeon. The Tail Cave. I must say, unlike my time with the Game Boy title, I actually didn't die this time. I guess having the sword always equipped definitely makes a difference. What I will say really highlights the difference between this game and the Game Boy original is the obvious increase in music. You can actually hear Marin sing. One thing I started doing was the trendy game, which is much more annoying to play this time since the stupid item doesn't want to stay in the claw grip. Fortunately, I eventually got the hang of doing it, as I was able to get things on my first try. Going around decorating the figurines around the town is a nice gesture. What I find most appealing about the game is the characters. Zelda has always had a strong sense of making you care about the world you inhabit. That's what games should do. Take moments to let you experience the world. No battling, just soak in the town so you can get a sense of what you are trying to save. Like I mentioned in the Ocarina of Time video, Zelda is primarily a story about a boy becoming a man, and about a girl becoming a woman. But since Zelda is not in this game, her role is largely taken by Marin, which is a fine change of pace. This is a much more personal story that's not part of what you may call the Triforce legend. One little change I noticed is that in the Game Boy original, it was quite hard to tell if you were damaging the genie. But here, you can see the bottle slowly breaking. It's a nice touch. One little thing I noticed is that every time Link gets an instrument, you hear a piece of this beautiful music playing. Every time you beat a dungeon, and it's the Battle of the Windfish. There was a vocal song recorded for this that is, for some unknown reason, not in this game. I'm gonna use it, but just wait till the end. I was actually rather pleasantly surprised that the color dungeon made a return. This time around, I opted to go with the red tunic because I wanted to increase my offense, and let me tell you something, it makes the rest of the game an absolute cakewalk. I didn't even need the Koholint sword. The red tunic just makes everything so completely easy. Oh, but just before that, I finally managed to get that elusive fairy bottle. Oh, man. What I will say about the scenes with Marin is that the game faithfully recreates them from the Game Boy original. There's even some extra scenes that you can do that add a lot of personality to Marin, particularly the scene where she plays the trendy minigame. Ha! That's appropriate. Another dungeon down. I'm not going into it since, well, I already did in the original review. They're faithfully recreated as far as I can tell. I'm sure somebody is doing a scene-by-scene recreation of what's different, what's the same with the Game Boy and Switch versions. Elaborating on the ghost that follows you, it's rather interesting that the game encourages you to lay this ghost to rest. But it's also a feeling of false security when you know what the truth is about this island. One change I liked is that when compared to the Game Boy game, was that warping was a huge pain in the neck, but with the Ocarina, you can now warp whenever and wherever you want. A much, much better improvement. When you go to the Face Shrine, the area is really barren and desolate, which really adds to the atmosphere. The boomerang is not as powerful as it was in the Game Boy game, but it still does a lot of damage, especially with the red tunic on. Then you fight this mini-boss that has this huge armor on. The only way that damages is to do the spin attack and slowly chip away at the armor it has on. Eventually, I finally did it. Then came the part I knew beforehand where everything is revealed to be the Windfish's dream. It's actually a rare moment where Link speaks. That's the interesting thing about this Zelda game. After you find that out, it raises the question, is Link, and by extension you, really doing the right thing by completing the quest? You go on the quest to keep beating the dungeons, but it adds to the sense, are you the bad guy here because you're wiping out everyone who lives here, including Marin? This game especially made me feel a twinge of regret and shame for what I had to do to beat the game. You see, video games can do something that movies can't with their stories. They can immerse you into them. Player connectivity. I still feel like we have only reached the surface of what is possible with the medium. One little change that I noticed that I liked was with the Eagle Tower. The boss battle is much easier this time. If I fall down, I don't have to redo the entire battle all over again. Rescuing Marin actually gives a bit of a hint as to the game's true ending. She mentions that she went to see the Windfish, which indicates that she's aware of the true nature of her existence. I think in this moment, Link, who had been experiencing doubts about whether or not he was doing the right thing, decided that, yeah, he should do it all for Marin, give her a happy ending. Before I do that, though, I decided to check out Dampy's dungeon making. If this is supposed to be an early tease of what the hopefully eventual Zelda Maker that I'm hoping they'll do after Super Mario Maker 2, well, it's a little restrictive. You have to meet the requirements that Dampy gives you. What I find most annoying is that it doesn't let you pick what's in the chest. You have to explore every room because only the final chest that you get will have the Nightmare Key. That's really something. Of course, I always pick the easy bosses when I have unusual requirements like don't use your sword or beat the dungeon in 5 minutes. The rewards get progressively lamer. Nintendo, we really need to talk about your reward system. Before I go to the final boss, I'll mention something that I didn't talk about in the original review. Seashells. There's a lot more this time. Fortunately, finding the pieces of heart is pretty easy as they're all pretty obvious to find. The seashells tend to be annoying. Basically, you take them to the seashell manor, you get a reward, which is all said and good. There are now 50 seashells to gather. They're all pretty easy to find, except for the ones where you have to use the fishing minigame, because you have to catch specific fishes, and this is where things really get pushed to the test. My line kept breaking because I was reeling them in too fast. But finally, one more shell. That's all I need. Come on. Almost got it. Yes! I got it. Now give me my shell. Oh, I really don't have the energy for this. Ugh. You deserve to be wiped out of existence, fisherman. I do it the second time and I get the seashell this time. All 50 now, let's claim my prize. Oh, what could it be? It's gotta be something really good and awesome. Tile? All that pain and suffering fishing for a freaking tile! Let's just beat the game. So the final boss is again really easy, and then comes the part that you all dread where you have to wipe the island out of existence. I beat the game, yes, but I feel so bad about it. Like, couldn't there have been another way? Anything to make me feel that those people lived on. But this time I didn't die throughout the game, and I succeeded in helping Marin escape the dream world. So yeah, that's Link's Awakening. I don't know if I can ever go back to the original game. This remake just fixes all its flaws and makes for a much more rich experience. I did give a small twinge of victory at the end. Now maybe the next remake can be the Zelda Oracle games, or port the Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3DS versions to the Switch. I suppose one can always dream.
Vapors wake, dreams will fade, although we cling fast. Was it real, what we saw? I believe. Lost in dreams, we sleep on, tossing and turning. Stay with me, by my side, never leave. What if the worst comes? If someday this rage rivalry ends, we two, our memories dream with me by the sea. We watch the waves crash. Hold my hand, think of me, and I'll fly.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit that bell, like, and subscribe button. Thanks a lot!